Welcome to The Profile. I'm Gary Dunn, and tonight I'm in the comfy chair. You've got the comfy chair, I've got the hard chair here.
Really?
Yes.
They look exactly the same, Gary.
But mine's hard, yours is comfy.
We can swap if you want.
Do you want to?
I'm pretty sure production does not want us to swap.
Mr. Kieran Murphy. Kieran, how are you tonight?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Look, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
It's so nice to have you here. Tell me, where were you born?
I was born in good old Armidale Kelmscott Hospital, 1978.
Well,
Some of your other interviewees were busy gigging by the time I was born.
including me.
Indeed.
What instruments do you play?
I am a drummer primarily, and by primarily I mean that's all I play. I play a little bit of guitar just for getting by. But I started off playing piano, and I played a little bit of guitar, a little bit of cello at school. But then as soon as I found the drums, I just went, this is my thing.
Pretty hard making cello work in a rock band.
Cello, well, unless you're in ELO, I guess it's not going to work too well. But the other problem that I had was...
But even though, do you remember who the cello players were in ELO?
Hugh McDowell.
You do too.
Line me up for a quiz night. No, but the other problem that I had was that I'm actually left-handed, and so I play kit right-handed, like Ringo. But when I played the cello or guitar or anything like that, I play left. Oh. And my cello teacher said, all the bows have to go in the same direction, mate, in the orchestra.
Yes.
You're like this.
Exactly.
And I went, you can jam that fair up your... Correct.
So, thank you, Mark. Do you want to come and sit here and tell me the turning point in your life where you decided you were going to play drums, if you like?
Yeah, I guess. So my brothers and I, we there was always music in the house.
Yeah.
Listened to a lot of Beatles records. Listened to a lot of other stuff. Paul McCartney, John Lennon. Listened to a lot of Beatles records. And it wasn't even like a conscious decision to form a band, but Chris gravitated towards the guitar. Courtney was a very natural piano player. And I think it was Courtney actually introduced me to the drums to begin with. And once again, it wasn't like a conscious thing where we went, well, if you play guitar and you play piano and you play drums, then you've got the formation of a band. But it sort of came about that way. So I was about 12 years old, picked up a pair of sticks and sort of hit the ground running with it.
Did you ever hear... V Capri in those days? I mean, obviously because you were younger, that was a bit of an influence, or...
they were a massive influence on my early days. Yeah. I remember hearing about them, because we grew up in the country as well, so we had pretty limited TV.
Yeah.
So you'd get Countdown back in the early 80s. The only live gigs that we used to get would be things like Blue Light Discos and stuff like that. So I have a vague recollection of, I remember when I first moved to Perth that V Capri was one of those bands that I had actually heard of.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were local guys, that was one of those things.
Yeah. So your first band, 1992, Chronic Laughter, age 12.
Yep.
With Chris.
Yeah, I forget how that came about, but Chris and a couple of his schoolmates were going to put together something for some sort of school show, and they had the local gun drummer all lined up, and everybody wanted Paul Myers to play. And
he was the local.
He was the local gun guy, if you were going to get someone, you were getting Paul. And I was going, Chris, I play drums, let me have a go. So they let me rehearse with them, and they went, well, he's actually good enough. So we did this first gig. It was 2 songs. No one was willing to sing, so they were instrumental. We played Rise and Fall of Flingelbunt and Foot Tapper. And if I remember correctly, the lead guitar player had his like a turbo rat distortion pedal on for Foot Tapper. So it was the most metal version of foot tapper that's ever been played
A
anywhere.
finger blunt.
Yeah, we blew the pants off 5 or 10 mums that night. That's for sure.
So 3 brothers, Murphy's Law.
Yep.
Right? You're a middle child.
I am.
Yep. So Chris is the oldest, Courtney is the youngest. Yep.
Those are the correct
Thought it might have
details.
been the other way around. I'm sorry, Courtney. Talk to me about growing up in a house of music with your brothers. What was that like?
It's a funny one, I guess, because you don't have anything to, you know what I mean? Like, that was my experience. So you try to think about what would it be like to not have grown up in a house full of music. It's certainly weird to think, to imagine if 2 of the brothers had been right into music and another one had been, you know, massively into sports. Although if you've looked at our physiques, probably was never going to happen.
Sumo wrestling. You should have gone to
mate,
Japan.
At the time, and there'll be some photos, I hope, to prove the fact that we were more svelte versions of ourselves in our younger years. But I think the fact that we all played music, we all played together, it spurred us on. You know, you want to get better knowing that the other guys are getting better. I remember playing a very early gig, either with Chronic Laughter or a very formative version of Murphy's Law, where we played The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy, and I hadn't nailed a shuffle, so I had to play it straight. I could. That shuffle is deceptively difficult for a 12 or 13-year-old kid, and so I learned it to play it straight. But then you go, you know what? I'm not doing the proper job if I'm just. I have to work it out. I have to do it exactly like the record. So you learn, I guess, fairly quickly to push yourself, because you don't want to be the least interesting brother of the 3.
And still doing it today, obviously.
After all this time,
Yes, I find the same thing. So your mum and dad were there from the beginning.
They were.
So
It's normally how families work, Gary, is that your mum and dad are there from the beginning.
Yes, I know. But I've got it written here saying that your mum and dad was there from the beginning. What was it like working under your dad, Kim? Can you understand that I'm asking these questions?
I know exactly where you're coming from. Look, sorry, I've just played with me.
Is it all right? Yeah, you're cool.
Thank you. My dad was a Vietnam veteran.
Yep. And
he was also a copper. So he wasn't someone that we messed with growing up.
I love it.
That's a guy who's had he's put some serious notches on his belt. So he helped us to do what we wanted to do. Yeah. He drove us everywhere we needed to go. Cool. If we needed a keyboard stand, which we did, he hacked the ends off Mum's ironing board with an angle grinder. That is a keyboard stand, and
what was Mum saying at that point?
My mum, seriously, the long-suffering Norma Murphy, who has put up with missing ironing boards for a start. I think she
pretty
found
hard to do the ironing.
Yeah. I think she walked into the lounge room once and found the old Thorn EMI stereo missing because Dad had spray painted it black, and it was our first PA system, you know. Yeah. Mum certainly did the hard yards on the home front, and Dad drove us around. I mean, we were 12, 13, 14, 15 sort of thing. So, and being country boys as well, we did a lot of B&S balls. We did the run to Kalgoorlie from Albany is about a 10-hour trip.
Yes.
And we used to do that probably once every 6 weeks. When I was still in school even, you know. Yeah. We did those runs a lot. So Dad put a lot of Ks on the clock in the old Ford Falcon.
It's lucky my wife's not a musician because I did the ironing.
Keyboard stand.
I'd be lost without that ironing board. Lucky my daughter wasn't a keyboard player. Yeah. So 1992-ish, ish, you start gigs with Blue Light Discos age 13 in Albany.
Yeah, we started to do some. I mean, it seemed like the logical thing. We did some shopping centre busking and things like that. You get up a little, just enough courage to stand in front of an audience.
So no alcohol shopping centre, no alcohol, Blue Light Disco.
This is correct. I'm
When did
still
you
only
discover
14 years
alcohol?
old at this point. Well, we did a gig. I think Chris is going to kill me for getting this wrong. If I'm wrong, I think our first pub gig was at the Prem in Albany, supporting a band called Pistol Noon in about 1994.
Wow.
And there's a desk tape of that gig. I know that the gig happened. I just can't remember whether it's the first one or not. Courtney on keys, Chris on bass would be our guitar player, Clayton Bolger on guitar, and myself on drums at the time.
Yeah.
And thinking that we were lords of the world, you know.
Yes.
It was pretty magical. So you do that first one in front of paying punters and that, and it's even going back to school on a Monday morning after having done that on a Saturday night.
Yes.
Business, sir.
Love it.
Yeah.
So that was your first pub gig, really?
From memory, that is. Yeah. Well, like I said, we did. We used to do some restaurants. We do B&S and then fairly regularly into pub gigs from that point. You know, like I mean, we were writing our own stuff.
Yeah.
But we realised fairly quickly that you'll run out of songs in half an hour with your own stuff. So we were padding out the set with cover material, and then as those gigs progressed, so that material progressed as well.
Yeah.
You know.
So all your boys write songs, obviously, your brothers as well. And so your first album came out in 94?
94 is correct.
Recorded at Shelter with Will Upson produced it.
We had done some little recordings in Albany as young fellas, and then we'd sort of realised that if we wanted to put out a proper album, that we wanted to do it on a bigger scale. To put all our money aside, whatever we had, and came up to Perth to record at Shelter, Andy Priest's old studio there, and we brought Will Upson, who was living in Albany, but he was quite a knowledgeable, experienced guy. He'd
absolutely
been around the traps, and he was a guy that we knew who knew a recording studio, whereas we were all kind of morons. I remember borrowing Bruno Pizzata's Brady drum kit to record that album because my kit was rubbish.
Lucky kit.
Well, yeah, and you know, sort of 4 or 5 days in a recording studio, and once again, like just a bunch of stupid kids from the country feeling like absolute kings. So,
having a go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what was the first Perth band you guys saw live? You came up here, obviously, from the country.
Yeah. We decided to make the move. I came up to go to uni in 1996. And by that stage, we'd kind of outgrown what scene there was in Albany, which is not much. And so the rest of the guys followed suit about 6 months later. So mid-96, and we did a gig. I think the first band that we would have seen that was a Perth band, we played a gig at Raff's. And it was Albie Pool and No City Limits.
Great band.
And who else was on the bill? Alias was another group, I think a Rockingham band. And their bass player, Sean Street, ended up being a member of Murphy's Law many years later. So, yeah.
Still doing it.
Still with Sean. So that was, you know, like the first time that we played at the Raffles Hotel in Perth with actual Perth musicians and stuff. And one of those guys was someone we had pegged, you know, we'd like to work with that madman later on.
So obviously you got in touch with Slim Jim, Jamie McCanty, and you obviously still use him today for bookings. And
Jamie was a very early champion of us. I remember Dad doing the rounds of a lot of the booking agents and saying, like, my boys have done this, you know, this is what they've been up to, and a few of the guys were like, well, we'll see how they go. We'll keep an eye on them, type of thing. And Slim was very good to us in the early days about getting us paid work, country and city. And loyalty repays loyalty. We've been with him ever since. He's stuck by the Murphy boys. He always asks after my dad. Kim used to go and pop in every week to the office down the Rock Exchange office.
Just to keep Jamie honest.
Just to keep an eye on him.
Yes. Not that you have to.
No,
at all.
And Des would throw a few gigs our way, but Jamie was there like from day one, and I obviously take my hat off to him.
Cool.
He likes to keep his hat on, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Well, it's good. No hair.
Follically, yeah.
Yes. Okay, 1998, you record second album, Dual Recording Studios. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, we continued to write. By this stage, Courtney had started writing songs as well.
Yeah.
And was becoming a good songwriter. So, and it's nice to have that where you've got two sort of active songwriters in the group.
Who do you think is the most talented brother? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but...
Which one's your favourite?
Well, myself is my favourite.
Yes.
Who's
Great
the most
answer.
talented? Well, each brother is talented in his own way.
Yes.
Courtney's got that raw talent that I think a lot of us wish that we had. That there's that smoky character to his vocal. There's something about his delivery. Of a lyric of a song that's really engaging, and then someone like Chris has like a fire and a passion that Courtney could only dream of having. You know what I mean? So, and for myself, I probably of the three of us the more focused.
Yes, I'm glad you're saying that. That's
but that's one of those things, I guess,
Yes.
is that with your powers combined, that you can do
So it
great
makes a great
things.
team.
Yeah.
Yes.
But each on their own, it's strong, but it's the same thing.
Yes.
There's a lot of guys that have had solo careers. They're going, why didn't it go the way I wanted it to?
Yeah.
It's because the other guys were propping you up.
Yeah. Exactly. The same from a band point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you flew to Melbourne to perform Song on TV on Starstruck.
We did, yeah. It was a precursor to like the whole Australian Idol, The Voice type thing, and so that album that we recorded, Best Laid Plans, we did a track off that on Starstruck, and that was a big deal for us. We met some good people and did some good things. Ultimately, it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
But you still feel like like you're working towards something. You're on that trajectory type of thing. So, that was a good time. I think both from a cover band perspective and an original band perspective. We were working a lot of residencies. The Babylon. We used to play Metro's Frio. We used to do the Lookout on a Sunday with Radio 80s. We got to hook in with a lot of those guys that I guess they were our peers, but to us they were heroes as well.
Yeah.
We'd go and watch them play and go.
And I
"These
think
guys
you were the next step then, and
in that progression.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing for us as well, is that we were obviously doing our level best to try and impress those guys as well. We go, we've learned how to do Bohemian Rhapsody. Do you want to hear us play Bohemian Rhapsody? Do you want to hear us play Good Vibrations? That was part of that thing, though, is where you would go, we have to do something to step it up because these guys, have got kind of a hold on the scene, and we're trying to break into it. We're a bunch of stupid long-haired kids from the country.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good time. Like I said, both cover and original. So.
Yeah. 2004, turning point for your band is Courtney goes on Australian Idol.
Yes, he did.
He came third.
He did.
How did that affect the band? Did that affect the band in any way, or?
Yeah,
did it
well, I
move
mean,
it to a different direction, or?
the obvious effect is that he's not there.
Yeah.
And with a band that was as tight knit as we have been, that's a very, you know, I was saying earlier that no one's ever been kicked out of Murphy's Law. You have to leave.
Yes.
So, so we've sort of done quite well over the last 25 years in
Yes.
terms of we haven't gone through a lot of members, but so that Courtney, you know, more or less putting the band on hold for a good 18 months while he went off and explored that was interesting. At the same time, Chris went off to tour the UK with Kevin Bloody Wilson.
Yes.
And so I did me, Sean and Jason, did some fill-in gigs with Tom Tapping in a version of Countdown.
Yeah. I've got to mention Jason at this point. 'Cause great guitar player.
Yeah, Jason had joined.
Wonderful person.
Fantastic guy.
And still with you.
Still with us, still with
Yeah.
the living. And he had joined Murph's, like he sort of moved in our orbit for a little while, and we went, well, this guy's the business.
Yeah, he's
And
great.
and he joined, I think, more or less just in time for Courtney to go off and be on TV, which was okay. Like it was an interesting time for us. But we would sit at our gig on the stage at the Inglewood on a Sunday night and watch Courtney on the big screen TV.
Yeah.
Each week getting further and further in this thing and getting a little bit more famous, and then he's on the cover of TV Week and going, like, I hadn't expected any of this to happen. It's really quite surreal to watch it happening to one of your family
Especially
members,
when
you
they're
know?
supposed to be with you at the Inglewood on Sunday.
Doing
where
the
are
gig.
you? You know?
Well, I had, you know, like in my defence, I had Tim Counts, so I really didn't miss Courtney's
so that
keyboard
was-
skills. You know? But yeah, no, it is weird. But I guess also from the fact that, like, you've known all that time about the amazing talent of this particular person,
Yeah.
and then getting to
And he
see
deserves to be there.
that recognised on a national level was pretty wonderful.
Yeah. So 2 years later, after all of that, band gets back to normal.
Yep.
Chris goes, I want to do
I'll have a
Australian
crack,
Idol.
yeah.
I'll have a crack.
Yep.
So what's going on there? You know, like,
Well, they more or less swapped positions, I guess,
Yes.
at that point. Was that Courtney came back to the band, you know, in a regular capacity, and Chris went off. So we, you know, like anything, we'd done some gigs. Jason's wife, Kat Kinley, did some fill-in gigs with us as a keyboard player while Courtney was gone.
and Kat's a brilliant player.
She's a marvellous player, fantastic vocalist, and something
Yes.
very different for us because we'd never had a female in the band before. So she did an amazing job filling in for Courtney. And then when Chris went, we managed to coax our old guitar player Clayton Bolger back into the group. So we had a lineup of Jason, Sean, Clay, Courtney, and myself, and that stayed pretty solid for quite a few years. Chris went off, did Idol, did very well. He came fourth on his year, and once again, you know, your family member. It was a little more.
You're used to it by then.
You
probably.
are a little bit more used to it by then.
I know
It is
what's gonna
kind-
happen
It is
here.
kind of weird, yeah. That you go, oh, this is all pretty much the same sort of thing. But Chris did some. They both did some wonderful
Yeah.
things through that. We met a lot of great people and had a lot of great experiences.
Yeah.
So, but it took us quite a while as a band unit to kind of reconvene, I guess, after that. You know, that people are going to go off and explore those solo album options and do those sorts of shows. There's lots of crazy things that they got to do, and I don't begrudge them any of that, you know.
So you were playing drums standing up. Tell me what band that was and how was that standing up playing drums?
Well, what happened was, so I've got two side project bands for when Murphs are working, not working, or, you know,
Is
I
it-
wanted to
Is
keep...
this you covering your income?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
partially, but also like keeping it fresh as well,
Yeah,
you know. We done, Courtney, Clay and I had done a little side project about 2000, 2001 called the Wesley Goodlett Jamboree Scouts. And Slim had called us up one night and said, lads, I need a 3-piece. I'm not going to do my Jamie McCanny impersonation.
Come on, do it.
Lads, I need a 3-piece. I need a 3-piece to go in to do a fill-in at Rosie O'Grady's on a Wednesday or a Thursday night or something. So Clay, Sean and I went, oh, we'll go and do it. So we turned up at this gig and it says Chris Murphy Trio written in
And
chalk.
he's not there.
And Chris is not there. And we went, you bastards, Chris is not even here. And they went, well, we'll change it. What are you called? And we went, well, this is a one-off fill-in gig. So Clay came up with Wesley Goodlett Jamboree Scouts because we figured the stupidest name ever for a one-off gig that 19 years later.
Mind me asking who Wesley Goodlett was?
Wesley Goodlett, I think, was one of his high school science teachers.
Okay.
I don't know what affiliation he has with Scouts, but it was a stupid name that 20 years later we're still paying for.
Okay.
But we did it. So we did a gig. Fast forward. We did a gig at the Como Hotel where we rocked up, and the stage was about 5 meters long and 1 meter deep.
2 centimetres. Yeah.
And I went, well, I'm not going to get it full kit on there, but I could play standing up. And I'd seen some dude, Slim Jim Phantom from the Stray Cats does it, Andy Sturmer from Jellyfish. I'd seen some players play standing up, so I went, I'll give this a crack. It hurts like hell. And then a few...
What hurts?
What hurts? Everything. Mostly your left leg.
Well, you stand up and play guitar or not?
Or stand on one leg and play guitar the next gig you do.
I do when you got a wah-wah pedal.
It's not the same.
It's not? Okay.
It's really not the same. Honestly, next time, stand for a full song on one leg and see how you feel at the end of it.
Okay.
It's a new experience. So I'd formed another little side project doing rockabilly stuff with Sean on double bass and Jason on guitar. And because I was lead singing with this, I figured that sitting down was for knobs, and that I would stand up and play and sing, so that there was like that front line, you know what I mean? Like everyone standing up. And it hurts like all buggery, but it looks cool. And that's what we're all in it for, isn't it, Gaz?
Exactly. We have to look cool.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, so that's great. So Murphy's Law would have a song list over 300 songs maybe, or 400 or 500?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon we've probably forgotten more than we've learned.
Yeah.
There's a good one, actually. I remember learning a song called Amazed by Lone Star, which is like a country rock crossover early 2000s for a wedding. Yeah. And we hated it. We all learned it separately. We rocked up at the wedding. We played it there that night and have never played it since. And it unlocked that little devil in our minds that went, you know what? We don't have to rehearse.
Yes.
We can get away with this.
Yes.
So,
and you've been doing it ever since.
I know.
Because it's the only way to go.
Oh, mate.
Isn't it?
We spent our entire teenage years in rehearsal rooms, stinking rehearsal rooms. They're beautiful now. Like rehearsal rooms are like hotels.
And I've got people saying to me, "Oh, we're rehearsing these nights and we're rehearsing those nights." Why?
Yeah. But there's almost no need for it. But if you've been playing with the same people that length of time, you kind of had that musical telepathy as well.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what Jason's going to do on any given night.
You know,
actually, that's not
when
true.
It's coming down.
No one knows what Jason's going to do. But for the most part, you've got an idea.
Jason's probably going to play all right.
Yeah. It potentially behind his head or you know off somewhere, but yeah.
So you're all married. All
are.
of your brothers. You all have kids.
We do. Yep. My little bloke Flynn is 3. Just started taking an active interest in the drums, which is pretty awesome. We jam now. My 3-year-old son and I. He says, Dad, I want to play Honey, which is everybody's trying to be my baby. They took some honey from a tree. Yeah. Dressed it up and they called it me. So he plays drums and I play guitar and sing.
Honey to me is, see here the tree, how big it's grown. Sorry. No.
But he's right into the rockabilly thing, which is great for me.
Great.
And Chris's daughter Ella, she's 12 now.
Yeah.
is going to be a singer as well. She cannot remember her lyrics, but that's exactly like her old man. And Courtney's daughter Sophie as well has taken quite a shine to her singing. She does these choral.
So we're going to have the Murphy sisters.
You know
If
what?
you like. Yeah.
If we can recreate the Murphy's Law thing
I think you're on
and
your way.
replace ourselves.
Yes.
I'm
You could
quite
just
in-
take
I'm
a
quite
commission.
into that
You
idea.
could just take the commission and
I know.
go play the gigs.
Yeah. Franchise. I like that.
Okay, so Chris has done about 4 albums.
Yep.
Courtney has done an album. Murphy Brothers, 3 albums.
Yep.
New album out soon.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Tell me what style is 2019. What's going on with all
What
of
are we
these
doing
albums?
now?
Yeah.
So about 2012, we reconvened the 3 brothers, and we went back into. So it's funny actually. We ended up going back to Shelter. It's not Shelter. It's not a recording studio. The room is still there. But,
Yes.
It was a great project. We brought all of the recording gear in and turned it back into a studio.
Wow.
To record our album there. It was a beautiful experience to be back in that space for about 8 days, and we just smashed out an album. Thick as Thieves, available in good stores near you. Actually, it's
Where
not
is it?
available. Thick as Thieves, that's it there. That's
okay.
our brother's record.
Can we? Where can you buy it?
It's available on Apple Music or iTunes.
Yep.
And if you get in contact with us directly, you can get a copy of it. There's not as many of them left, but we'll probably do a...
Well, that's my copy.
There you go.
isn't it? There you go.
We'll do a repress probably to coincide with the new album. So we've been recording with Travis Bryant, who's been a long time peripheral member.
Some of our audience who wouldn't know who Travis Bryant is, can you?
Travis Bryant is Kevin Bloody Wilson's son and former guitar player with TJ Dennis.
Yep.
A
A wonderful guitar player.
Wonderful guitar player, all round awesome guy, and turns out a very talented songwriter and producer. So he literally can
And pilot.
and a Qantas
A pilot.
pilot. So
Qantas
he's putting us all to shame.
Yes.
We've been recording our new album with him for probably about 12 months now,
Cool.
and it's shaping up to be something that we're very proud of. So
Great.
hopefully have that out later on this year.
Cool. Okay, so what was your earliest influence from a band or musician for you?
The Beatles stuff is looms pretty large over everything that we do. Mum was a massive Beatles fan, and so.
Can you believe that?
Oh, I know.
This is supposed to be a
This is a professional
Yes.
recording.
Yes.
So the Beatles thing. I mean, Abbey Road. We listened to endlessly when we were kids. Like really picked it apart. And so that stuff. And then by the time I started playing drums, so my drum teacher was a massive fan of Louis Bellson. So
Who was your drum teacher?
my drum teacher is a guy whose his name was John Hallett, and he has passed away now. But he was a crusty, crotchety old son of a bitch.
Crusty
And,
crotchety.
and I loved him to bits.
How do you get crusty crotchet?
He
Can you explain that to me?
You leave them out overnight. He was a lovely guy. He was a jazzer. So he introduced me to Louis Bellson, Gene Krupa, and Buddy Rich and those guys.
Yeah.
Players that I would never, ever be able to play like. But it did open up another door for me. And then, about the time I was 11 or 12, I got very heavily into Queen. And so from there...
Roger.
Yeah, I still am a massive Queen and Roger Taylor fan.
Yeah.
I love...
Why not?
I love the tone of his drums. I love the way that he plays for a song.
His vocals as well.
And all of those, that's exactly right. All of those things have been something that I've aspired to. Is the high harmony in the background is my gig.
Yeah.
I I write lyrics for the other lads, and occasionally might throw in a tune here or there. So, and also you've got to have someone, I guess, who's a little bit driven up the back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's, like I said, a very early influence, but an ongoing influence as well. One that I've stuck with over time. And also that turned me on to a lot of prog rock stuff as well.
Yeah.
Got into a lot of Floyd about that period, and then Led Zeppelin, and then down the rabbit hole we go.
Yeah.
You know.
So, favourite band of all time? One.
If you can only choose one, then I guess it's that's all we've got time for. It's a Beatles Queen toss up, and Beatles, I guess, because without the Beatles there is no Queen.
Yeah.
And as obvious as it seems, I can still listen. In fact, I rocked my little boy to sleep tonight to lullaby Beatles songs. And they are as amazing played on a tinny piano as those original recordings, because the songs stand up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this may make it easier for you.
Okay.
You were stranded on a deserted island. What album would you take with you? It can only be Beatles or Queen.
Oh,
Or
yeah, if it's only one of those.
Is it something else?
Well,
Is it
if
Floyd?
I'm stranded on a...
Because you won't be able to listen to anything else. You got to take this with you.
It's a tough one. See, because the greedy part of me says the White Album because it's 2 records. Yeah. There's a lot of fluff. You're not listening.
You're right.
You're not listening to Revolution #9.
You're the first person that said that.
Yeah.
It is very greedy.
Oh, look, probably. Oh God, I'm gonna say Queen News of the World.
Okay.
You got We Will Rock You, you got We Are the Champs, and then you got a lot of deep cuts.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So the best Perth band you saw live, was someone stick out for you there?
You know what? I'm going to say the lads from Radio 80s. And I've seen a lot
Dave Sandico, Stu Robertson,
mate,
Diane Watkins.
Stu was... Watching Stu play was an amazing thing for me. Enzo Volpe on guitar was always such a sweetheart for us as well. He used to take us aside and say, lads, you should try and tighten up your show. You do a lot of chat. We still do a lot of chat. But you know what I mean? Like, they were always those good guys. They were fans. So
great musos too.
Great musos. Like, they put on an awesome show. We always enjoyed playing with them, always enjoyed watching them, learned heaps, and sweet guys. So there was an original band I used to follow called Fourth Floor Collapse.
Yep.
That I would say I'm being greedy now, for an original band, Fourth Floor, and for cover group Radio 80s.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Stuart's probably the best drummer sorry, Al. I mean, you know, he's got the cream. He's got the cream roll.
Mate.
He's got the groove.
And not only that, he's let's not make this the Stu Robertson hour or anything, but
not at all.
Wonderful player, wonderful guy, and just I've always loved him. I've always loved you, baby.
Yeah, likewise. So, favourite TV show growing up as you sip on that tea?
Yes, the remnants of my iced tea. Like I said before, we only had mining television and ABC when we were growing up in the country.
Doctor Who?
I didn't mind a bit of Doctor Who. I was little though, so Doctor Who had a tendency to be a bit scary. I did like Tom Baker era Who, and who was after Tom Baker? Was it Colin? Peter Davison.
Well done.
Skip next. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't mind a bit of Tom Baker. Probably Inspector Gadget, but also
Perfect.
when we had the opportunity, I used to love those, like the A-Team, the Fall Guy, Magnum PI.
Yeah.
You know, like the 80s was great because you had a hero, but he also had a shit hot car as well. Everyone had a bloody awesome vehicle, and as a kid, that's what you're into.
Can I ask you what car you drive today?
I drive a 69 Dodge Challenger. No, I drive a Mazda 6 family wagon because I'm a drummer, Gary.
And you gotta go. Love it.
What else were you going to fit a 24-inch bass drum in the back of, for God's sake? It just doesn't work anyhow. I had a Triumph Bonneville.
I'm just trying to.
I had the sweetest motorbike. And you know what you can do with a motorbike? Nothing. You ain't going to any gig. No amp, no guitar, no drum kit.
No, I just wanted to see what your vision and your, this is what I am.
Yeah.
And what I have to do in life.
Well, it's a very comfortable family wagon if I.
It is too. No, I agree. So, what does the future hold for you?
The immediate future, we're going to put this new Brothers record out and do the usual, do some clips and do some promo. I think in terms of, we're at that stage of our careers now where we'll put it out there, and if people like it, they'll like it. And if people don't like it, then that's good too, because we're sort of over the point, I think, of chasing the dream.
Yeah.
There's a lot of my later era musical heroes, and I don't mean that they're current, but you find out about bands like Big Star that didn't make an impact when they were first around, and did amazing things in the early 70s, and then by the early 90s you've got bands like REM and the Replacements going, oh my God, Big Star, and you go 20 years too late. But it was also too late for Vincent van Gogh. I'm not equating us to that sort of thing, but people don't necessarily appreciate something for its amazing value at the time. So, maybe our time is yet to come.
Yeah, and you just don't know.
Crotchety and crusty
They'll just
old
go,
man, Gary.
The Murphy brothers. Yeah.
That'll be the thing. We'll be doing another version of the profile, probably like live streamed from Mars, in about 20 years' time when I'm 60. Just going, well, we gave it a good go, didn't we, fellas? We certainly gave it a good crack in that those early 2000s right up to 2020. So, yeah.
We're still not there yet. No. So, do you have any unfulfilled ambitions?
If you say it out loud, it has to happen, right?
Well, it's up to you.
Yeah. One of the things that I've had on the back burner for a while, I'm going to put out a single with the Rough Houses. I'm going to press an actual 45.
Does everyone know about this?
No, this is, well, Jason and Sean know about it because they're in the band. Yeah, okay. We've written a couple of tunes, and I'm going to press an A side and a B side on a 45. And for the 12 people that can currently play records...
Well, I was going to say, how am I going to hear it?
You know what? Buy a record player. No, or come over to my house.
Okay, I will.
But it's one
is
of those...
that an invite?
It is. It's one of those things, Gaz, where, once again, I don't care how many copies it sells.
As long as I come over to your place and
have a whiskey and have a listen, and we'll put it on the player.
I mean...
Drop the needle, and there it is, you playing on a 45. That's one of those things that, as a kid, was a dream.
Yeah.
That as an adult man, that I can now make come true.
And you don't have to prove anything, so do it.
Why not give it a crack?
Yeah,
exactly.
Cool.
Yep.
That's really cool. So, do you collect anything?
I collect records, quite obviously. Have
you got a record player?
I've got a player.
And,
the whole deal.
Where do you buy your stuff?
A lot of it is online, but there are record stores still around, and there's vinyl fairs that happen quite often in Perth.
Yeah.
That are, like, even if you're not buying vinyl, honestly, the vinyl fairs, they're at like the Mount Lawley Bowls Club or the Vic Park Leisure Life Centre. It's a fantastic morning of just going around and doing this.
Yeah.
It's like a form of meditation.
Yeah.
That just flicking through those things. I picked up a copy of Excitable Boy by Warren Zevon at the last one. And like you flick through and you see that album cover and you pull him out and you just go, mate, you are coming home with me. It's it's pre-loved.
It's just amazing what you're saying.
It's beautiful. All those records that maybe my mum and dad had as kids, or artists that I've discovered since. You can buy them new, you can buy them second hand, but it's a wonderful, wonderful pastime. And it can cost a lot of money if you're not careful, but I think my collection's only about 500 or 600 records. It's not crazy.
But what's money when it comes to satisfaction?
When it comes to something that you can possibly pass on to your kids, there's
Dark Side of the Moon, you got that?
I've got a good copy of Dark Side of the Moon. There are still gaps in my collection that I'm on the lookout for a decent original UK pressing of Beatles for sale, if anyone's got one.
Just see me after the show, mate.
Yeah, of course you do.
Just see us after the show. There's a certain price that comes with that.
Whatever,
but,
yeah.
You know, but we can help you out there.
I'm very, very interested. Yeah. My wife is less interested.
The price just went from where, Mark? He's suffering. So
yeah.
So what would you put on your gravestone?
It's an interesting one. You know, and you guys will be aware more than most that we've lost a couple of these cracking old fellas. And it does serve to remind you that it's not forever. You know, that I like a lot of you guys probably thought that we had all the time in the world for catching up with Pecco, and it didn't end up being that way. For me, I figure I've still got a few good years in me yet, and when the time comes, I hope they burn me and throw me out to sea. I don't need a headstone.
Yeah.
The memories will do, you know.
Well, that's the first time I've heard that. It's very profound. Is there something about Kieran Murphy we don't know that you might want to share with us?
Mate, what you don't know about me could fill an entire...
Close the book.
Yeah, I'll let you know exactly what I'm willing to let you know, and the rest of it stays up here.
No worries, mate.
Yep.
It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Gaz, it's been unreal.
What clip are we going to see?
You are in for a real treat.
Tell me, please.
We've got a copy of Murphy's Law from 1994. So I am 15 in this clip.
Yep.
And we have trucked up to Perth from Albany to play a song off our first album. And the song is called Sweet Dreams. We played it on Telethon 94. And enjoy the mullets.
So you still play that song?
No, I haven't played it in years.
Really?
Wouldn't it be great to drag it out at the next gig?
Can you drag it out at the next gig? Will Chris and Courtney be happy with that? Or
They would actually.
Yeah.
You know, look, it's sweet in its prepubescent way, but also I think that you'll get a sense of why. Guys like Alan and Stu, when they saw us, they went, well, these kids are onto something, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's a kernel of something happening that you see in this clip beyond the ratty hairdos and the, and the
mullets.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
It was a sign of the times.
It was a sign of the times.
94, was it?
1994, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Eagles won their second premiership in 94, so that wasn't a bad year.
Yeah.
Although you're probably a Dockers fan.
Cut.
And I didn't know that.
Like anyone, I followed the Eagles right up until the point where the Dockers joined the competition. So we were one year shy of it in 94, weren't we? 95 they came about?
Yeah, something like that. Who cares? Really? I mean, we don't really talk about that much. We know we've won 4 premierships.
And we've got nothing yet. Yeah, correct.
Anyway, that's all right. Sorry to do that, Jen. I didn't even know that.
No, all good.
Normally I would take advantage.
You could get that. You could feel it coming off you,
yeah,
didn't you?
Yeah, I could feel that Dockers stuff. Yeah, definitely. Look, so nice to have you here.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks for coming in. Your stories are great. Your family's great.
Yep.
And yeah, just love talking to you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you,
Thanks,
Gary.
mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Kieran Murphy, that's it for this week. We're going to go out with a clip from '94 when the Eagles won the premiership, and subscribe to the profile on YouTube. Please like our videos, comment, let us know what you want us to do. www.theprofile.com.au, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
At ProCopy, we can transfer audio to CD, make CD, DVD and Blu-ray copies, transfer video to DVD, Blu-ray or HD, digitize slides and photos, and supply custom USBs. You can see more details at procopy.com.au or call us on 08 9375 3902 for more information.